Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Healing and Dealing podcast. I'm so honored today. I have Celine Kheir. She is the founder of Saline Care Life Coaching, the author of How to Calm Your Mind, Declutter Your Home, Declutter Your Life, and an advocate of the female empowerment through self-care. Some years ago, Celine was trapped in a cycle of overthinking, procrastination, and anxiety. As an overthinker, she was obsessed with planning every detail of her life. Procrastination prevented her from carrying out her plans, and when her plans failed, anxiety and depression took over. The sheer weight of her anxiety caused her heart to pound and weigh so heavily on her chest that she found it hard to breathe. Celine explored various tools and techniques to start calming her mind and taking back control of her life by connecting the mind, body, and soul. By taking what she has learned from her personal life and combining it into her professional training and qualifications, Celine wants other women to gain the same empowerment as they discover the root causes of their chaotic minds, reveal their inner strengths, and find inner peace and lead a fulfilling life. Beautiful. What
Hi,
amazing
everyone.
work. What amazing work you're doing for women all over the world. That's awesome. I'm so happy to have you here and share your expertise with all of my listeners and with me. I'm ready to learn too because
Thank
I need to
you.
calm the
Thank
mind
you.
too. So
Yes.
yeah,
Thank
tell
you
us a
for
little.
having me. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. And yeah, I really, I got to a point where I really understood our purpose here on earth and is really to sharing our stories because the more we share our stories, the more we open everybody's eyes to realize that they're not alone. They're not alone going
Absolutely.
through whatever it is they're going through, right? And so throughout my journey, I realized that um, we are stuck in that mindset that where, you gotta be strong,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta be the leader, you gotta be in control of your life and in control of your actions. We grew up that way. And what I realized is I'm just harming everybody around me, including myself, by continuing this old fashioned mindset. And um it was hard at the beginning to share because I had coaches, I had people that would tell me, you need to speak, you need to
Mm-hmm.
let that out and talk about your journey. But I'm like, but I'm not an expert. Like, I'm still going through it or through this journey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still learning. Maybe when I learn and I know I got to the point where I want to be at, then I can share. And what I realized is no, that's not the right way to do it. You need to
Right.
share as you go, as you grow. And there's no way that you will ever be knowing everything and achieving
Exactly.
everything, right? Like we learn from our mistakes, we learn from our experiences, we learn from our journey, and that's what makes us good coaches. That's what because we relate with every story, every client that we get, we learn from them. We're not just providing for them, but they're also providing for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this was how it started by me realizing that everything that I'm trying to do in my life to change my situation, my environment, wasn't leading me anywhere. It was just the opposite. I
Mm-hmm.
was getting more self-doubt, more worries, more anxiety, more stress every time I was attempting to do a change in my life.
Yeah.
Um, and I had to really, really, really hit rock bottom. And unfortunately, that's how it works usually. You have to hit really a rock bottom, and that is a different rock bottom for everybody. Some will be hit big time where, you get into a divorce, you lose someone, you lose your job, you lose, and
Mm-hmm.
other ones, it could be a rock bottom emotionally where
Right.
you just can't breathe, you
Yeah.
just don't understand. And for me that was the case where um I want to change. I felt that calling within me to tell me you are so deserving of so much more,
Mm-hmm.
but I was feeling guilt because I had everything on the outside for someone on the outside, for my family, for friends, for coworkers. I couldn't speak. I couldn't speak because I felt guilty to ask for more when I had a great family. I have all my parents, my siblings, everybody around me. I have a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful house, beautiful job. What am I complaining about? Being
Yeah.
grateful. We were taught to thank God
Yes.
all throughout our life, and that's something whoever is very spiritual and believing and Christian, whatever, even Muslim and whoever it is, we were taught to always be grateful. But
Mm-hmm.
we were not taught why to be grateful. It was so easy for us to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm grateful, thank you. But what are you grateful for? What are you thankful for? It's easy to
Mm-hmm.
say it, but do you really mean it? What is it
Right.
that you are? So it all started by me like really hitting rock bottom, and that rock bottom for me wasn't just emotionally, it was um, seeing the environment in my own house around my family
Mm-hmm.
and seeing how my kids were reacting to my reaction to everything, being irritated all the time, screaming, starting to cry, hitting myself, like just being that angry mom all the time. And them reacting the same way I was reacting, for
Yep.
them to scream back at me when I'm asking them for something, for them to
Mm-hmm.
throw tantrum, to hit doors or to, and I'm like, but what's happening? Why are they reacting like that? And I was kind of um blaming their situation. That's what at one point I got so selfish thinking that it's because they're reacting like that that I'm thinking, bringing excuses to myself,
Yes.
until I realize no, that's not the way to go, and I need to do some changes. And that's when I realized in order for us to change our environment, we need to first accept that we need to make changes internally. And yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, so this is how it all started. I went on a self-discovery, on a self-growth journey, which was alongside of spirituality, and I dived really deep into a lot of books. I was
Mhm.
like just consumed by books and by listen, like just reading and highlighting and writing notes. And then the more you read, the more you open up your mind, that's when awareness kicks in, where you
Mhm.
realize, oh my God, it's all me. It's all me. And we are so used to making changes, which are, I think it's much easier to say, you know what, I'm going to start eating healthy, I'm going to start exercising every day. But we always forget that missing piece that will create your balance in your life, which is the mind, body, and soul. Now, more and more people are talking about this.
Mhm.
You cannot just work on your mind and on your body and forget the main you. Who are
Mhm.
you? Who are you really? We don't know who we are. We
Yeah.
don't know who we are until we start asking ourselves those deep, deep questions. And that's when awareness kicked in, and I realized that I had to do some self-care. Mommy needed some self-care. And in order for doing that self-care, I talk a lot to a lot of people, and they tell me, well, Celine, that's easy for you to say, but I don't have time. I
Right.
don't have time. I have 4 kids. I have 5 kids. I'm juggling between business, between my work, between the responsibilities.
Mhm.
You do have time. It's just, are you willing to sacrifice some things in order to take care of yourself? It's very easy for us moms and women to take care of everybody around us, but we
Mhm.
we forget ourselves. For me, taking care of myself, the only way I could fit it in my schedule was to say, you know what, for 6 months, I'm dedicated to waking up at 5 in the morning, and 7 o'clock my kids are up, or 6:30 for some. All you need is about 20 to 30 minutes a day. And
Yeah.
that is my time that I didn't tell myself that I'm going to wake up for my life, the rest of my life at 5 in the morning.
Just
But at least for a certain time, I needed to just give myself that time. And within that half an hour that I was, well, it's for me, it was an hour and a half, but all you need is a half an hour. You wake up and you just fill your mind with good information. That could be guided meditation is number
Mhm.
one. Guided meditation will get you in that, you know, in that um, in that
That vibration, that
vibration,
yeah.
that calmness where you can figure out what thoughts are coming into your mind, what's going on internally. So I would do my 15 minutes guided meditation. Some do an hour guided meditation. For me,
Yes.
15 minutes was to set myself, to ground myself. Then I would do 15 minutes of journaling,
Mm-hmm.
and then 15 minutes of whatever I like to do. What is it? A book, reading a book, listening to a podcast, um, taking a long, nice hot shower, preparing breakfast quiet within, your own
Mm-hmm.
own self. And I did that for 6 consecutive months. It was hard because I didn't give myself a day off. It was like I knew if I would give myself one day off, then it's going to become two, then it's going to become three. And I would do it. That got me into the habit of calmness. Just creating that
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes, now you know what it is. So going through your day where the chaos is going around, you'll know that, okay, I need that. I'm craving that calmness. I'm
Mm-hmm.
craving that moment for myself.
Yeah.
And with time, you start understanding with practice that guided meditation could only be a couple of deep breaths that you take during
Mm-hmm.
the day, right? So it becomes
Yes.
a habit. And that's how it all started. And yeah, I'm going to let you.
Gosh, you unfolded that so beautifully. Like, so much of what you said aligns with my story too. It's crazy. I'm so intrigued, and first of all, I'm so proud of you for doing this work from
Thank
the bottom of my heart. I'm so proud of you because I know what it's like. I did it too, and I know that we had a choice to do it or not. And we chose to do it for ourselves, for our kids, for, just the people around us who love us. And but I love how you said, your daughter, or I don't know if it was your daughter, but like your kids were
Yeah,
acting like you, like they're
yeah,
literally mirrors of us. And that
yeah.
was a wake up call for you. Same goes for me. Like, and still daily I'm reminded, I'm like, oop, that's that thing I taught her, before I started doing the work. And I wasn't aware of how my actions were like modeling everything for her.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like we
Mm-hmm.
know that, but we don't really like understand it until there's a lot of self-awareness around ourselves and what we do.
But it's hard to really accept that
Yeah,
we are doing that to our kids. And I think that's where the
it's
self-forgiveness
true.
come. We need to take the time to self-forgive ourselves. And most of the time, it's attached to something that happened way, way, way back that
Mm-hmm.
we still unconsciously feel guilty about.
Right.
Even though most of the time I've learned that we were not in control at that time, it wasn't
Exactly.
in our hand, and but we
Mhm.
still feel guilty about it. So we know unconsciously that our kids are reacting a certain way because of us, but we have a hard time accepting it. And I think that the
Mhm.
minute you accept and you tell yourself, journal about it and say, I forgive you for, and those journals till this day, I
Mhm.
can remember the words I wrote, and I don't even know how they came out.
Right.
And it gets me so emotional, um, about how much I needed to forgive myself for things in the
Mhm.
past, how much I needed to forgive myself. And then, but the once you forgive yourself and you start loving yourself and taking action moving forward and
Yes.
stop, release it, let it go. It happened. You need to sit with it, observe it from the external view, accept it, release it, let go. But then that's it. It's over. Now you have more
Mhm.
space. And that space, instead of filling it with negativity and
Mhm.
still self doubt and worry, now say, you know what? Now I'm ready to fill you with love. I'm
Yes.
ready to give you that love. And by you loving yourself and giving yourself that empathy, then it's reflecting on the others. And I was talking to Charlotte 2 weeks ago, and we were talking about my son and how of a immense, like the it honestly, as soon as I started working on myself, within the 2 weeks, I started seeing a huge difference in my kids, where they calmed down, they started being more happy. Now they are aware of their own reactions towards any situation, And he's able at 8 years old to say, Mommy, I need my space. I need time
Mhm.
to reflect. Or, Mommy, I'm having an anxiety attack. We don't realize when we go through anxiety, we don't realize that our surroundings are going through the same. It's just that we are so centered about what we're feeling that we don't realize that they might be feeling the same thing. And
Mhm.
me, when I realized, oh my God, okay, I'm making those changes and I'm living in the moment now. I'm being aware of every action and every thought that I'm taking throughout the day. Now I'm able to see the moments where the kids are getting affected by a situation. And for him to tell me, Mommy, my heart, something is going on. Mommy, please come here, come here. He's calling me. He's in the room. Can you put YouTube? Can you put that calm music you listen to? I need that, Mommy. I need that. And just by putting that calm
Awesome.
music, and he goes, can you sit with me? Let's do this meditation you do. Let's take deep breath, Mommy. Let's take deep breath. What are we? Like, to see that we are giving them the tools at such a young age to
Yes.
use throughout their life, and why wait for them to get to a certain age where it's even harder to get out of
Mhm.
those habits that they're creating.
Mhm.
So by doing the work on myself, and by me changing what I realized, two things: my circle of people around me, from family to friends to cousins to, started shifting. Everything around you starts shifting. That's why we say surrender. Just focus on yourself, and everything else around you will set in place and will transform to what really the vibration you're putting out there.
Mhm.
So I lost a lot of people around me. At the time, I couldn't understand it. I got really hurt. I got really sad. Some have put me in positions where I got really, really like saddened. And I was like, unbelievable. Why would they think such things? Right. But later we understand why things happen to us,
Yes.
right? When we sit with it and we look at it and we say, oh my God, I'm feeling so much better. This was exactly what I needed at that time.
Mhm.
But I couldn't fathom the reality of it at that time. So a lot of people had disappeared from my life, fallen apart. Some other ones started coming in. And
Yeah.
now these people that are starting to come in, it's like you when I met you the first time. I was like, I feel like I know you for years. I feel
Yes.
like we've known each other from, I don't know, a different life. I don't know what it is, but it's our energies
Mhm.
start connecting, and it's a much higher force that will surround you with loving people, with people that are going through the same journey, with people are willing to change the world, that with me and you together, with someone else together, we collectively are making a bigger change in this life. And I also realized that the people that were the closest to me, that were kind of, I'm not going to say narcissists, but they were in that
Mhm.
old mentality. They started changing without even me telling them anything about what I was doing, anything, but just by me changing
Yes.
my vibrations and my way of reacting, it helped them too. So it's very, very powerful. Just just get to that state of mind where you're in the present moment, where you are consciously aware of your thoughts, and you will see how your intuition, your guts,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, will guide you always to take the right decision and the right next step in life. It will never guide you in the wrong decision. But us focusing on our ego, on that man, and the ego again. I talked about this in a lot of podcasts. I don't believe, I used to believe the ego is the worst thing that could have happened to you, right? Like it's the
Mhm.
mean monster within you. No,
Affects you.
the yeah, the ego, I take the ego like a mama bear. I always refer to it
Mhm.
as the mama bear. That's the part of you where it's like not used to you taking any different action from what you used to. So as soon as you try to change or try something new, it
Yes.
will flag you and tell you, hey, no, 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 don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. This is too scary. We don't know what's going to happen, right? And you listen.
Mhm.
But what about turning around and saying, I thank you. Thank you for, you know, warning me, but it's okay. I'm still going to take that step. I'm aware that I might fall. I'm aware that I might get hurt, but I'll deal with it when that happens, right? And that's when you start taking those little steps into changing your life. And it's like it goes at a very fast speed. Transformation starts happening, you get addicted to it, and you will never stop, right? Like
You
we
just
always
explained
grow.
that. I love the way you just explained that, the mama bear. Yeah, I've always thought of the ego. I remember I did a program a while back and I went through all these different like types of egos, right? And I was marking them off, the ones that I noticed that I had, and it was like way more than half. I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what, I have so much to do." I felt all overwhelmed after that. But then once I started learning more about it, became clear that these are all protector parts of me that I've used in the past, and I love the way you talk to your ego, like as an observer, like you said earlier. It's so important to like unattach from that and
Detach. Yeah.
look at it from a different, yeah, detach, thank you, from a different, lens, and see and tell that your ego, like, I feel you, I know you're there, you served me in the past, I thank you for that in these moments, but right now, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna try it. That's so important to understand, like, what self-awareness is that, that's beautiful.
But that's why when we talk to people that have went on a spiritual journey, and everybody tells us, oh my God, it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the best thing I've ever done. But it's really coming down to you trusting your instincts,
Right.
trusting your you are there's no one on the outside that will love you more than you love yourself.
Yeah.
There's no one on the outside that know you more than you know yourself. So once you start taking the risk and saying, you know what, I trust you to keep
Yeah.
me alive and to take the best decisions for myself. And to go from there, I don't know, that happiness, that love, that light that starts shining from within. You don't want to turn
Mm.
it off after that, right? Like you don't want to
Yeah.
go back to that fear and worry. It's normal. We're always going to be fearful and worried, especially with what we're going on is
Mhm.
going on the outside, right? And it's all filled with um negativity outside. I mean, it's sad, it's worrying. We think about the future, we think about the future of our kids. We But what if you say that I'm always going to take the right decision for myself and for my family. I'm going to live whatever I have in this life happy. Why should we be feeling anxious and sad before even things that we're
Mhm.
worried about happen? When
Right.
they happen, we'll deal with them. For now, what can you do today so you can be happy, have fun? And by you living happy and fun today, the next day will be
Mm.
the same. But and stop comparing yourself to anyone outside. Just compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Just make the intention with yourself that every day I'm going to become a better version of who I was yesterday. That's all it takes.
Mm.
That's all it takes. How can I do something today, even whatever it is, let little something that will get me closer to where I want to go, but without jumping from one rock to another. Just
Mhm.
pick one little tiny step that you can do today to get you closer to where you want to be, and celebrate yourself while you're doing it, because we don't
Yes.
celebrate ourselves enough. So
Absolutely.
every little thing, you got to create that trust within yourself. You can't just hit your goal by taking 3 steps, but you can hit your goal by taking 20 steps.
Mhm.
So instead of sitting for 2, 3 hours working on something, why don't you do 15 minutes? And then once that's done, leave it on the side and celebrate yourself that you did that 15 minutes, instead of deceiving yourself by not achieving that 2 hour you set yourself for,
Right.
right? And then by doing that for a couple of days, you start creating that stress that, oh, maybe I can do it, maybe I can add a little bit more, and then you go
Mhm.
from there. We're just too hard on ourselves. We are um
It's true.
yeah, we're trying to be in control of everything, and we don't need to be in control. We really need to surrender and just let go. Um,
Something you said brought up something in me, and it's when you said, you know, who's going to love you more than yourself? And it just came to me, you know, some people don't love themselves, you know, and I feel like with me, I was not following my intuition for so many years, and I was breaking promises to myself all the time, and I just wasn't aligned for so many years
Mhm.
that the I couldn't find that love for myself when I
Mhm.
was living like that because I was just upsetting myself all the time. Like, Charlotte, you
Yeah.
know you didn't want to do that. Why did you do that? Or just, you know, there wasn't much self-care, self-trust, none of that. So
Well,
once I started to do that, that's when I started realize when I started to follow my intuition and listen truly and get quiet and know what Charlotte really wants, that's when I could feel the love for myself. That's when it started growing. That's when I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can wholeheartedly say I love you, Charlotte, and mean it." And that's like you said, like that's where it started. That's really where
yeah,
the
yeah.
it started to bloom.
But that's why we go back to the number one thing you need to start with is self-forgiveness, because
Right.
there is something, and I can guarantee you and everybody that we're not forgiving ourselves for something, and that when it stays in your subconscious mind, you're always every day you're waking up and you are feeling guilt, and you are
Mhm.
feeling, even some feel disgust.
Yeah,
They
I
feel
did.
yeah.
I absolutely
So
did.
but before you start loving yourself, you can go from that to saying, "Oh, I love you, Charlotte. I love you,
Yeah,
Sid. I
it's a
love you, Sid."
process.
It's hypocrite. It's not something you can accept. So you need to sit down and say, "Okay, start just, I promise you, just by saying, I forgive you for, and I love you for, and then start writing anything that comes to your mind. If it's
Mhm.
not coming out completely, the next day, continue, put another paper, say it again. If you think that you have any idea of the timing where you started feeling like that, then go back in your mind when you're meditating. Meditation could be when you were in high school, could be when
Right.
you were in primary school, and go back into that period of your life and try to remember some things. And by you writing the first sentence, you'll see everything will come out.
Mhm.
So self-forgiveness is number one to start any spiritual
You know
journey.
what, Celine? I couldn't forgive myself back then when I was doing the same thing over and over. You know what I mean? It's like I had a block up against self-forgiveness when I was just continuing to break those promises. You know what I mean? Like drinking was a big thing for me, and it
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
I knew I didn't want to drink, but I would do it anyway. So I was going against my intuition. I was going against the boundary I set for myself. And the next morning, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm hungover again.
yeah.
I couldn't even think about forgiving myself because I knew I was going to do it again. So
Again,
there were so many barriers I had to break down for all of that to occur. You know what I mean? Like
Ulrika.
I had to first follow my intuition and learn about the reasons why I wanted to stop
Yeah,
drinking and break those limiting beliefs and stop the actual thing I was doing to build the self-trust. And then it became like I forgive you and then I love you and it was like
yeah.
it's such a journey. It's crazy.
Yes, it
Really
is.
break
It
it
is. It's
down.
a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and it's a continuous work. And it's also like, okay, so I know that I need to change things in my life to get to where I want. So maybe look at it in a way where, okay, what do you really want? Do you
Exactly.
even know what you really want?
Yeah.
Where is it? Like, it's not about just thinking, oh, I want this or I want that. No, how do you want to feel when
Yes.
you get what you want? What is the emotion? What is it? Is it because, well, sometimes we think we want to I want to I'm tight. I want more money in my life. I'm fed up. I want more money in my
Mhm.
life. Okay, but what is it that money is gonna get you? If what is it that, like, usually money will bring you to financial freedom, but what is financial freedom like?
Exactly. What does
It's
it feel
really,
like?
what does it feel like, to feel more at ease, to not have to worry every day, not have to stress every day. So, okay, so you get to what you really want, you write it down, and then you say, what steps do I need? If I'm logic and I need to put steps in place to get me to where I want to be, what are the steps that I need to put? Then you realize, okay, I'm putting all these steps here. So what is it that is blocking you from getting there, if you know that you need to take those steps, is
Mm-hmm.
it time? Is it you have too much on your plate? Is it there is something that is too full in order for you to make these changes? So you need to look at
Yeah.
how are you in the present? What are things that you're doing that you are unhappy with, that don't bring you joy, and accept and say, you know what? I am letting you go. I am letting you go, but you can't just let go. You need to replace it by something else.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the times we feel lost. If we
Mm-hmm.
stop doing that, then what am I doing? If you
Right.
like to drink, but then you're telling yourself, okay, I'm not going to drink tonight. But what are you doing
Yes, exactly.
in the meantime when you're not drinking? Because you're just sitting and telling yourself, no, I'm not taking that drink. I'm not taking that drink.
You're
I'm
gonna
not
end up
taking
drinking.
you're going to end up drinking. So
Yeah.
replace it by something else. And what can you replace it with? But like you said, it's a lot of self-discovery. It's a lot of being aware of, because every action you take is related to a thought. It's related to an emotion. It's related. So you need to
Mm-hmm.
figure out what are those things that are coming up? Where are you feeling them physically? What are the emotions attached to it? What thought
Exactly.
triggered me to get back into that habit, that bad habit that I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to change, right? Like
Yeah,
there's something,
exactly.
there's a cycle happening. What is your own cycle? For me, my cycle was always overthinking, always stressing, always, and then that overthinking was bringing some self-doubts and fear and worry. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my excuse to procrastinate and freeze and not take the necessary
Right.
actions that I needed to take. And by me not taking those actions, I was still looking at my goal and I wasn't getting any closer to those achievements that I was looking for. Then I would get into anxiety because I'm like, oh my
Oh my
God, I
gosh.
can't get there. And
Yeah.
then it would be the same cycle over and over again. So, what is your cycle? You need to figure out what are the cycles that you are going through. And then you can do research and
Mm-hmm.
find the necessary tools that you need.
So I want to talk about procrastination, but I want to highlight something you said about, the financial freedom piece. And you said, how is it going to make you feel? When I went through and reprogrammed my brain around alcohol, that emotional based goal was the driver and everything. And now I'm just reprogrammed literally that is what drives me to not want to drink. Why would I want to drink? I
Mm,
want to feel amazing. And
yes.
that's like I know that feeling now. I've practiced it for a year straight and I'm like, this is what I love. I love my body to feel good. I love to have energy. I love to have a clear mind. And so it just makes it so easy to be like, yeah, right. Why would I have a beer?
Why would I go back, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Am I willing now to sacrifice how I'm feeling today to for
Yeah.
a drink?
Yeah.
So
And I
yeah,
think so many people get caught up in behavior-based goals. Like if you're going to, I'm going to go to the gym every day. Let's use your example that you used in the morning. I'm going to wake up every morning for 6 months at 6 a.m. So yeah, you can set that up for yourself and white knuckle it and really like try to bang it out. But how is it going to make you feel when you do that every morning? So you have to notice when the first week it's going to be hard, but how'd you feel after you did it? And you have
yeah.
to like,
When I wasn't doing it, there was days that I couldn't get myself out of bed. The I realized that that day would be completely different from the other days that I would
exactly.
wake up, right? Because already there you feel that disappointment that you didn't take that actions to take care of yourself. It
Yes.
becomes at a point you become your own baby. It's like I
Mhm.
wouldn't let my baby not eat the whole day, or I
Mhm.
wouldn't let my baby be sad all day. So I started feeling like I am not taking care of myself. Once
Yeah,
you start taking care of yourself and not doing it 1 day or 2 days or 3 days, then you're like, oh, I can't do that.
right.
I need to take care of myself, right?
Yeah.
And that's how you get to it. But the emotion and the like you said, it's so important
Yeah,
to
so
understand.
your goal isn't actually, I'm going to wake up every morning
Mm,
and journal. Your
mm,
goal is, I want to feel grounded throughout the day. I want to feel clear. I want to feel like a high vibration. How do I get that? By waking up at 6 in the morning,
mm-hmm,
doing that
mm-hmm.
work. So it
Yeah,
really just switches things in my brain, and I can accomplish so much more when I think about it that way, rather
yes,
than just like forcing myself to do things
to
that
do
I'm
the
not even
things.
thinking about how it makes me feel. It's
Yes,
so
yes.
important. So yeah, let's get into some procrastination because I got some real problems over here with procrastinating. Actually, I don't. Like I'm at work, like I'm more of like a get it done right then and there. I because I hate that feeling of,
Mhm.
things hanging over my head. It really bothers me. But there's things at home I procrastinate about, and then like I'm about like spaces too. So I'm sure everyone has like a junk area, you know.
Yes.
I have like this one area in my kitchen where all this stuff
Oh,
goes,
everything
and
goes there.
it's like near my kitchen table. And so I'm noticing I don't like to eat at my kitchen table because I'm by the stuff. Like it
Yes.
just changes the whole energy of the room for me.
Mhm.
So I know I need to sit down and go through all that mail and all that stuff that's sitting there, but I just keep putting it off, Celine. And I know that I need
So
to do
how
it,
would
but
you feel if this was done?
oh,
If
I would
that mess
feel
on your table was all empty?
yeah, I would feel just a huge relief first off. I would feel like, I could let that little stress go that's hanging on in my brain. I would just feel like more relaxed when I'm in that space. So yeah.
Yeah. So it really is like you've been saying earlier. It's, that how you would feel if that declutter is. For myself, I'm a person that everything has to be. I learned that decluttering my home, it's
Mm-hmm.
decluttering my mind.
Yes.
I knew the attachment to this. And I also know that me taking stuff and just putting them all in a closed space, it's still making my mind feel nervousness because I know what's behind those doors.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to a point where I needed to schedule it, to set it in a like I'm not going to do it now, I'm not ready for it now, but I thought, okay, so imagine if everything would be in place, how would you feel? And then I built up that feeling. On a couple of days I would sit with it, I would meditate on it, and get myself in that feeling of, oh my God, imagine now it's all clean, I have a lit candle, I have a bouquet of flower in that space, and then I'm walking and I'm passing by it, I'm gonna feel like wanting to cook more in this kitchen. And
Yes,
so it's like
absolutely.
really creating that feeling and that smell, and using all your senses to feel that space, and then tell yourself, okay, so this is when I think I want to do it. Like on a Saturday between 10 and 11, I'm giving myself, this is what I'm doing at that day. And then also, what can I include in there that makes me feel good while I'm doing it? I don't know, if it's something
Music.
else you're procrastinating about. Let's say there's a podcast or there's something that you need to do, then
Mm-hmm.
why not do it at the same time? Or there's a book that you would love to read, why not get it on Audible and put it while you're
Yeah, that's
doing
a
this?
great
Or
idea.
put that meditation that you like, whatever it is, you got to combine some things together
Mm-hmm.
and then make it a fun activity where, and once you start, you're not going to want to stop
I
because
know.
you're seeing it getting less and less. And then
Uh-huh.
and I've done this exercise with, because I wrote a book also about decluttering your home, decluttering your mind.
Yes.
And I've spoken to a few of my friends and cousins. They're all in that, I want to declutter my home now. I said, okay, calm down. Like they want to declutter the whole house. I said, there's steps to be taken. You can't
Mhm.
put yourself like, I'm decluttering the whole house within this weekend or that long weekend.
Yeah.
You're stressing yourself already. Don't stress yourself. Come from a different, make it an activity. I did it with my kids. I teach them to learn, okay, there's always three parts to decluttering. There's the keep, give, and toss away. And
Mhm.
if you want more from me, you want me to get you more toys or more clothes or more, well,
Yes.
you need to show me what you're willing to get rid of and give to others that you're not using. So I think that's one way to go with it. It's really comes down to breaking down every action that you're thinking about taking into really tiny steps. Again, we
Mhm.
can, and the other thing is also take it out of your mind and put it in a calendar. Sit down with yourself and
Good
empty
idea.
your mind. I think we talked about this, I'm not sure if it was with you, but there's so much clutter in our mind. There's so many things us as women, and you were mentioning about why is it at work I don't procrastinate. First of all, you have no choice. You need to do your work
Mm-hmm.
at. Second of all, you're used to your work. You are not afraid of your work. You are not worried about what you need to take. You know what you need to do. You
Right.
know the steps. So you're just actioning
Mm.
them. But
True.
at home, you're like, first, if it's something new you're starting, like a new business, you will procrastinate because you're worried and
I
you're
do
you're
that.
you're you're fearful. Until this day,
Mm-hmm.
I still procrastinate on a lot of things in my business. But if it's a chore that you don't feel like doing, I really, really suggest you making it a fun. And what can you do to make it really you taking care of two or three things at the same time you're doing that thing,
Mm-hmm.
and put yourself in that. And while you're doing it, think about the joy that you're going to feel once it's done, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, it depends of every single thing you're procrastinating about. There's an action to be taken about that. But I wanted to give the example about what you're going through. And
Yeah.
also when you're doing it, say, I'm being intentional about clearing the energies also while I'm
Yes.
doing it. So I don't know what is hanging in that section of yours, Charlotte. It could be bills, it could be something else. Why not take the time while we're doing it, if it's bills, invoices, and take the time, every bill we take in our hands, and say how grateful you are for the service, or how grateful you are for whatever you purchased out of it, and do gratitude while you're doing it. And then
That's
you're
awesome. I love that idea.
it's a lot of little things. For me, it was clearing the energy. So when I was decluttering, I'm like, okay, this is not broken.
Yeah.
It was a gift that I got back then, but is it still serving me? How do I feel in regards to this? And a lot of things I had were related to people that have hurt me after that, that
Wow.
were not that I had a bad experience with this person, but I
Mm-hmm.
still had these things in my house. So we don't realize how much this energy is affecting us, because even though we're not thinking about that person when we're passing next to it, but your subconscious mind knows about it. So every time
Yes.
you're passing through it, you're connecting with that energy. Does this
Mm.
energy serves me in my house? Is it needed now? Is it not needed? And, take everything in a way where that decluttering is a healing session. I'm creating a healing session out of it,
Yes.
right? And yeah, so it's little
Mm.
things like that. I really believe that decluttering your space is very, very important. If you're starting something new, make your space like a place where it's calmness, it's all in order. And the more you create that order on the outside, the more you are going to want to do the same with your mind. And that's when you
Mm-hmm.
start planning everything in advance, putting chores in a calendar, putting yourself reminders. Oh, my phone just rang, I need to take vitamins. My phone just rang, it's laundry day. My phone just rang, I need to call all these little things that I've been procrastinating about, taking a
Mm-hmm.
dentist appointment, taking a hairdressing appointment for my kids, blood test that I need to do. Set them in your calendar at a specific time. By you putting all these things in your calendar, you're creating that space in your mind where you don't need
Yes.
to force yourself to keep reminding yourself you need to take them. The calendar will remind you. When it's time, it will
Right.
tell you,
Yeah,
right?
that's so huge. I've been using that sort of system for a long time, and it's vital. So I'll go through it every morning and just look like what's on my calendar. And
Mm,
some days I miss it because I just jump right into work, but it creates so much more calmness for me knowing that everything's written down. But I know that's not possible. Like some people's brains just don't work like that. Like my husband struggles with using a planner. I bought him one. He's a business
yeah,
owner. He misses appointments all the time. I'm like, you have an iPhone, like put it in
yeah,
your calendar.
yeah.
But I bought him like a handwritten one, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I missed a really important thing today." I'm like, "Dude,
So,
I
so
can't be your secretary, but I could
So
try."
in this case, why not find a place and go and take your time to shop for this? There's so many things out there now that look so nice that will go with the decor, or and get
Mm-hmm.
those calendars where it could be a transparent one with the marker, white marker that you can
Yeah.
put somewhere. And for him specifically, not for you, because you have
Yeah.
your system and you don't want to crowd that calendar, right? Where
Yeah.
you confuse him. But just for him, put him the specific things that he needs to do or he needs to attend to, where it's very visible for him every day he's walking by there. That way it's also less stress for you, because I go through the same thing on my end. So I'm not only handling my calendar and the calendar of my kids, but I'm also handling my husband's calendar. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very heavy. It
It
gets to a
is.
point where it's heavy.
It
So we
is.
need to take care of ourselves and figure out ways where we can release that this is his responsibility now. I did my part at the beginning of the month. I put him all the appointments. They're up there. Maybe you passing by there, you can remind him quickly, but it's not part of your busy
Yes.
calendar. It's his own calendar.
That's a great
So yeah,
idea. Maybe I
yeah,
could help him out and do that.
yeah.
Yeah, he deserves that. I could help him with that. Yeah, I know how you were talking about procrastination in business too, and I feel like anything new, like a lot of my friends want to start side businesses or, they're running one and they want to take the next step, and it's like I was this way too, even before starting the podcast, where you set up all these expectations, you set up all these things that you have to have done before you make the jump, and and honestly, for me, it was just making the jump, and then
Mhm.
and really just like leaping into it and learning as you go and growing as you grow, I guess. So what do you
But
have to say
Charlotte,
about that?
did you realize that on your own, or did you have help from coaches or from mentors to get you to take
No, I
that
had
jump?
help. I had
Right,
help. Yeah,
right. That's what it comes up to.
I don't think I would have taken the jump without all of the
Exactly.
work I did with those coaches, because
Yeah.
I had so much self-doubt. I had so much imposter
Mm-hmm.
syndrome. I was just
Mm-hmm.
this regular girl who, grew up in an addiction,
Yeah.
alcoholism household, and I was just a mom. Like that was my
Yeah.
identity. And so I
Yeah.
was really stepping into something way different.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew I had something. I knew I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
share my voice and other people's voices with the world. So, but I just had no idea how to get there. So it did. It took help.
So, for all the listeners, that's exactly the perfect example, because everything Charlotte said was exactly the same thing for me. When we are facing something new in our life, it's an automatic fear and doubts will show up. And then by the fear and doubts, you're going to start comparing yourself to others.
Yep.
If you are trying to open something online, automatically you're going to go on social media and start seeing the competition and who's around you. And for some reason, we always end up with the ones that have 3,000, 5,000, 100,000 followers. And we're
Yeah.
like, there's no way I can do this. Even if the night before you sat down for 6 hours creating your content, creating your business plan, putting everything on paper, it takes only a fraction of a second of you scrolling on social media to create that self-doubt and that
So
self-fear.
true.
So what you do, you say, okay, tomorrow I'll show up online. Let me do some little bit more learning. And then you're either going to buy another course or you're going to be watching more master classes. And then you're going to be taking tons and tons of notes, and you're going to keep yourself busy and doing things that you think are for your best
So
interest,
true.
but that's actually all actions you're taking to procrastinate and stay where you're at. So that's when coaches, mentors, people with experience will come into play and tell you, okay, that's enough. Now you need to take an action. But it's so hard for us to take that decision on our own. We need that accountability a person. It doesn't have to be a coach. It could be a person, a friend that you talk to and you say, you know what?
Mhm.
On Wednesday, I need you to push me now, to push me to take that step. And taking that step will relieve you, because there's no way you're going to mess it up, because you're coming from a good place. You want to
Yeah.
provide goodness in this world. So there's no way you can mess it up. There is no way. I'm telling you guys. So I went through it. I had to hire a coach, and that's how I got to take my steps. But I'm going to tell you, it becomes addictive too, because Now you see how
Yes.
fast you take those steps and you're not willing to stop. So you want to keep growing. You finish your sessions and you either go to another kind of coach or you continue with your coach. But that's okay. That's okay. A coach needs to be coached. It never
Mm-hmm.
stops. I've been working with 5 coaches, and each one of them was for a different reason because I knew I wanted a life coach to start, a mindset coach, then a spiritual coach because I was learning spirituality, and then I wanted a business coach. So everything you want to take and do in your life, if you're really, really serious about it, maybe it's time. If you
Yeah.
have tried
Mm.
everything, maybe it is time to talk to someone that has went through it, that can help you get to where you want to be,
Yeah. Yeah, and
and
I
get
think a lot
over.
of people are afraid of the investment, but there are affordable programs out
Yes.
there that help people, and I'm not someone who's, financially free, and 2 years ago when I joined my first program, it was like, "Oh my gosh, $500, like, do I really want to spend this money on this?" And I just followed my intuition and I did it. And it started this whole thing for me. So I'm so
Mm,
grateful I spent that money,
yes.
and it and it's already multiplied in so many ways, maybe not in dollar signs yet, but
Hmm.
just oh my gosh.
Exactly, exactly, right? That's the feeling. When you start working on yourself and loving yourself and growing in that journey, you start understanding that not everything is equal to money.
Mhm.
When you start your business, I'm going to be very, very honest. It could take years before you start making your first dollar.
Yeah.
But within those years, you are building connections. You are building yourself. You are building,
Right.
building, building, planting seeds left and right, left and right. And then boom, things starts coming all at once. But you
Mhm.
gotta be, I mean, I talk to people all the time. That investment you are putting, don't put it with the RO, like the roars, like what am I, what's the return on my investment? No, the
Right.
return on your investment is you growing as a person, is you going
Exactly.
to a next level,
Yep.
where that's when you start attracting the right people you need to come to you, not
Mhm.
at the bottom level. So me, it was hard for me at the beginning because I really thought that by me investing in myself in one coach, that right away I'm going to start making money. And that's not what happened.
Right.
So I invested in another one. And again, that's not what happened. So then I'm like, but what am I doing? And then I realized, I sat down and I'm like, but I'm not even the same person anymore. I
Yeah.
am still learning. I need to start learn. And, there's the lack you need to learn about. There's that lack of
Mhm.
you thinking you're never going to make it, and you attract that towards yourself. So having a coach, I think it's a beautiful experience to have in your life at least once, and see how that works for you, and then you can take a decision after that to say, you know what, I think I've learned enough and I want to do it on my own now. But
Yeah. I'm not even there yet, and I'm 2 years into this.
yeah, I'm
Like,
not
I've
there.
I've done a lot of, group cohort type things,
Hmm.
but now I'm doing just one-on-one coaching, like I was telling you, with a spiritual coach, and just to
Yeah.
really take myself that much more deeper.
Oh
And
yeah.
we've revealed so many more things that that I'm still struggling and, like, trying to understand, and so, the healing never ends, and that's why I feel like this podcast could last forever, because there's
Yes.
always going to be something
I know.
that we need to heal, or trauma that's happened, that we need to share our story so other people, like you said in the beginning, not only other people feel like they're not alone, but we heal when we share our story too. Every time
Yes.
I tell traumatic moments of my childhood, I'm able to detach from it a little bit more,
Yes.
and I'm able to
Yes.
heal that little girl piece inside of me a little more. So that's why I'm just trying to encourage people that follow me and listen to, come on here. You don't have to be a coach. You don't have to be, a
Oh,
professional. Like, it's this is just a conversation about your healing journey, and I want that to be like the meat and potatoes of this podcast. That's my true
I love
vision.
that. I wish you all the best and keep shining your light and your love.
Thank
I
you.
love
You
you.
too. I'm so, so happy we met, and your energy is just amazing. And I can't wait to keep, in contact and have you come
Yes.
back on too. We have so much to
Yes.
talk
Whenever
about.
you don't have someone call me.
I will. I
I
definitely
like
will. Thank
that.
you so much. And thank you
Thank
to
you.
all the listeners for joining us today. That was a beautiful conversation. And every week, I just love that I'm having these amazing conversations with women that are just empowering and fierce and just doing the work. And I'm just so grateful to be alongside women like you. So I hope
Thank
everyone
you.
has a
Thank you.
beautiful rest of their day.
Yes.
Bye.